There you go.
Here we are. We will, hey, there's Bob. Let's do a quick roll call and jump right into it. Brian Casper, Chair. Ava Jacobs.
Present.
Bob Abriola. Can you hear me, Bob? Oh, connecting to Bob's audio.
Yeah, I think he might be good now.
Okay, Bob Abriola.
He mouthed present.
He mouthed, yeah, I read his lips. It said present. Stephen Russ.
I'm here. Sorry, I was on mute.
All good. Stephen Russ.
Here.
Hey, Stephen. Melissa Matuska.
Here.
And Nori Gruden.
Nori, you're on mute.
Here. Yep.
There we go.
Here.
Cool. All right, we have quorum. Let's get this party underway. So before we dive into the normal agenda things, we have MJ and Josh as well as Annika here already. I propose that we adjust our agenda to get these items out of the way since they're here and not to waste their time with our governmental rigmarole.
Brian, do you want to just do public participation really quick?
Sorry,
Nobody's here, but just for the record.
And right. And also, I see Naomi Clark joining as well for the roll call. All right, public participation.
No one is here.
Big surprise. All right. So
This is Melissa. I second the change of the agenda.
Thank you, Melissa. Quickly run through roll for a vote on that. Ava Jacobs.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I also vote aye on this, obviously. Bob Abriola.
Aye.
Stephen Russ.
Aye.
Melissa Matuska.
Aye.
Nori Gruden.
Aye.
And Naomi Clark.
Aye.
Thank you. Love this. Hi, Naomi. I love this governmental stuff. It's so much fun. Okay. MJ and Josh, if you wouldn't mind, I know Annika is up against some childcare issues. Do you mind if we have her take us away before we jump in? You guys, is that cool?
Absolutely.
Also, y'all should know each other. I'll connect you over email. The more muralists in California. Annika is based in New York.
Oh, fantastic.
Very cool.
Nice to meet you.
So yeah, so Annika's here to show us a final for Brian McMahon. This past Common Council, the budget was approved, etc. We do have a hiccup with our second location, but let's get Brian McMahon out of the way first, and then we can chat a little bit about that. But it's probably something we just have to put on hold for a minute. So I don't think we really need to run through much refresher. Well, I'll just let Annika jump into it here with the artists that have been chosen, as well as their final design for a vote.
Thank you so much, Brian. Nice to see you all again. So for the high school, we're having two artists collaborate, which I'm really excited about. So we have Haroon Zankel, the lettering artist and art director. I've known him for 20 plus years. He's living in Jersey now with his family. And he's got incredibly strong lettering. He's also been doing a lot of community-based murals. So he was really excited about this project. He painted a You Are Not Alone mural previously in Boston. And we are, he is gonna be collaborating with Kyla Farrell. She's from East Hartford. She's a muralist. Her artwork is much more figurative. So I was really excited to have this combination of both figures as well as like the really strong lettering, so we could get people feeling sort of more deeply connected to the mural. And so here is their mock-up. I'm not sure what else.
No, it's fine. So I guess first and foremost, does anyone have any questions right off the bat that Annika can address about this mural?
It's a little hard to see. Sorry, it's great. It's just a little hard to see if it's actually, I can't tell. It looks like it is on the wall of a building. I get it. Okay. It's
on the side of Brian McMahon.
Like a photo in there.
Yeah, we've just photoshopped their mock-up in place so you could get a sense of the scale of it. Like you can see the trash cans next to it to get a real sense of the scale of it.
It's just, there's a right where the trash cans are, there's a stair, right? And so that part just juts back towards the
Yeah.
school,
Yeah,
I
the
guess,
side
right?
the side
Yeah.
of Brian McMahon has these sort of three locations that are all about this size.
I see.
Kind of right by side entrance.
Sure.
Yeah, it's to the left. If you're
Okay.
facing the main entrance, it's to the left. It was the first one that was like, well, it was the most sort of monumental feeling one because it's pulled out the furthest. And it's also the cleanest in terms of there are no obstructions anywhere around it.
Sounds good. Thanks.
So Brian, I just want to make a couple comments. I love all the people, kind of like the frame that goes around like the people. I think that's great. All the different sizes. Just a suggestion on the type. I think the word R is a little tough. That R in the AR, it's a little almost looks like a number. I don't know. Maybe you guys can play with that just a little bit so it reads better.
Sure. Yeah, no, I know script can be a tough sell, especially with like, there are a couple letters that are really, really challenging. And I agree. I'll suggest to her and he does an alternate for that R.
Yeah, just a little bit. And I mean, I get the transparency effect. I think maybe they're trying to do, but I don't know if that's in a Photoshop thing or they're going to actually try to do that on the final. Or is it just gray type on top of the yellow? I'm not really sure what they're planning there. But legibility is important. So whatever they can do to make sure it reads well.
Yeah. I think this was from something he had done with markers that that he was like using to repurpose for this. So I think his final will probably be, they're going to be using a combination of spray paint and like brush. So I assume that there will be something more solid there.
Yeah. And Bri, these always need to be like yellow, right? That's like the theme, the brand color. But can there ever be other colors like or is it just like black and yellow? Is that like the theme on how it goes?
Yeah, black and yellow is the organization's colors. Meant to be a bit of a flag to show sort of what it is and what it's for.
The idea is sort of to tie back to the repetition. We want it to be a recognizable piece that's part of this global project. So all 80 of them are all the same color palette.
Oh, totally. So I love the yellow. I was going to do an art direction suggestion, but it's probably not. Like all the faces, I was just thinking, wouldn't it be nice if they were all in different colors, to kind of show like diversity.
She usually does do that.
I have a question on the use of cursive.
Yeah.
Because that's not primarily taught in school anymore. So why are we using it? And not using like a different font or a different style.
Well,
I mean
script font is used in design. I designed and it's a very common font in design. Like big brands use. It's called script, not cursive script. So it's common to use it, Nori. I don't want to speak on behalf of these guys, but it's very prevalent in design today to use script fonts. So it doesn't bother me as much, but if you guys feel like it's on a school.
Well, no, I'm just wondering, because in school they're not teaching that. Kids aren't learning how to write that way. So it's like, will they be able to read it?
Well, I think Bob called out the one letter that I could see being problematic in terms of the difference between like a script piece of lettering versus like, something like the not alone that's behind it. I think, he rightly called out the one letter that would be problematic, but everything else is very recognizable. The type forms are not, or the letter forms are not so different from anything else that they're seeing that they would struggle with.
I agree with that.
I have a question about, I understand we're going with the yellow and black theme. Is there a possibility of switching up some of the faces to be yellow and the hair to be black to where it could still go with that theme, but it would provide a little more diversity within this photo? Because I feel like it could be called out that we're going towards a certain minority.
That's a fair point.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was saying like all the faces that are black, like if they were in different colors, to me, it would show like diversity, right? And it doesn't have
I think also
white,
from
black.
a design point of view too, if all those faces are sort of different and they're varying shades of yellow, black, white, etc., the lettering will also stand out a little bit more too. That's not a bad point to bring up.
Yeah. Sometimes I think it's better to not like try to match flesh tones. Like it could be greens and blues and red, you know, like just to show like different faces and different colors. I don't know, it might be a real
Or
interesting.
varying shades of gray as
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
it goes from white through all, you know, the 10 different shades of gray up to black, essentially.
I'm gonna quickly I just want to take a quick look. She does tend to have most of her faces in black. Yeah, I'll definitely talk to her about it. I think that's definitely an interesting thing to play with here. And Brian, I actually like your idea of the grays as well. Like, yeah, we'll see what
also create with that background that's black, that's on the lettering, will also help to sort of really frame that out too. Not to push her work in the background, that's not the intention. But just, you know, sort of making it more of a central focus. Any others?
I just have a question about, like, with these suggestions, do we go back to the artist and then they do another mock-up? Is that what would happen?
Well, I think we'd have to agree on, we are up against the wire here in terms of timing. We'd have to agree upon putting this to a vote today with X changes. You know, it's like approved with X changes. So for instance, the R in the word R, and variation in the faces. You know, with those changes, we approve this, or we basically table it and bring it back with revisions and vote on the revision.
Brian, when are they going to start though? They want to get it done now, right? In the fall?
Meant to be done this month.
Yeah, so I would motion to approve with the changes, like with the recommendations that we're doing, as long as we can see it, you know, like the revised, I'm okay with putting that to a vote.
Once we get the revised changes after talking to the artist, I can send it out to the group and we can just email if there's anything crazy that we need changed.
Okay, so in the name of specificity, Bob, what changes are you putting on this motion here?
Yep. The word R, so it's more legible, like ARE, the R needs to be revised. And then I'd like to see a version with color and like the people going around. However the artists want, or color or grays or something to show more diversity.
I also would, you mentioned something about the transparency of UR. I would like to see a version without that gray.
Okay, so hang on. There's a motion. There's a motion on the floor. Bob is putting forth a motion to vote. He's motioning to vote on this with the changes of the letter R being more legible and there being more variation in the skin tone of the faces. Bob, would you like to also add that the UR is more opaque and less transparent? You did bring that up.
Yeah, so I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yep. So that's fine. So let's see a version with UR so it's denser so that we can read it better.
Okay, so there's a motion.
Less transparent, whatever the word.
Yeah.
You want to wear.
So in other words, this, you know, we're approving this with these changes. Do we have a second for this motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Steve. I'll start. We'll run down the roll call here. Brian Casper, vote aye. Bob Abriola.
Aye.
Stephen Rouse.
Aye.
Naomi Clark.
Aye.
Ava Jacobs.
Aye.
Melissa Matuska.
Melissa has a question first. If I want another change, do I have to make a motion afterwards and then we have to redo this?
Well,
what's the change? Can I weave it into my motion, Brian?
So the word alone,
maybe.
The word alone, the L is lowercase, but all the other letters are caps. The L needs to be capped. Does that make sense?
Okay. It was Bob's motion. I guess we got to go back here.
I know. That's why
Sabrina,
I'm like,
Sabrina, are we allowed to go back, or do we need?
Wait. Hold on. You're saying the word what?
Alone.
The word alone.
The L is lowercase.
The L is lowercase. It's the only letter lowercase.
Before we do that, Sabrina, we're in the middle of a vote. Are we allowed to do that?
You'd have to finish the vote and then propose the new amended
amendment.
motion
Okay,
to
so,
include that other one and then vote again.
Oh my God, we're so political.
okay, so 2 people left to vote here, Melissa Matuska.
Melissa votes aye.
Okay, Nori Gruden.
I,
Okay, the motion passes. We approve this mural with these changes. However, Melissa, you got a little something.
Melissa would like to make a motion to change the L as well to make it caps like everything else.
Okay, the amendment is Bob's changes plus there's a motion for change from a lowercase L to an uppercase L. Do we have a second for this motion?
I'll second that.
All right, Bob, second that. Brian Casper vote aye. Bob Abriola,
Aye.
Steve Russ,
Aye.
Naomi Clark,
I,
Ava Jacob,
Aye.
Melissa Matuska,
Aye.
and Nori Gruden.
I,
All right, motion passes. Thank you, everyone.
That was a good catch, Melissa. I think it'll be better.
We
Yeah,
got
no.
it. We got it. All right, Annika. So this is good to go with those changes. When you have them, please send them over. Just so everyone can see them, so there's no surprises. And we will try to nail down a date. This brings us to the other hiccup with this project is the Wilson Avenue retaining wall is being torn down.
Oh,
The
no.
one we approved last meeting.
Oh, no.
So this might be something that is more of a up for a conversation, but I think I chatted with Annika a little bit about this yesterday when that came through, and we sort of agreed that maybe the next best plan B for this would be to move that second mural to Norwalk High. So we have one at Brian McMahon, we have one at Norwalk High.
But that's also coming down.
But that's also coming down.
Right. So I had proposed the idea for the Wilson Avenue wall to the mayor's office yesterday, and then that's how I found out about the train abutment coming down, that wall coming down. They had suggested a location on the corner of Ely and Low, which is I know he wanted to do one in Spanish, and that's a more Hispanic neighborhood than kind of the Wilson Avenue wall was, so it might actually be a better fit. I'm not necessarily sure what the wall looks like. I haven't been out there to look at it yet. But that could be a potential location. But all in all, the mayor's office is supportive of an additional location, especially if it's going to be represented in multiple languages. They were, can we get 3 more to do one in Haitian Creole, one in Spanish,
Right.
all that fun stuff. But they
Maybe.
had suggested a location that I'm happy to go check out to see if it'll work. But I think something like that might be better. We own that wall as well, so it's no additional approval that we would need. So it makes it a little easier.
I'll see it on the map quickly, but all right.
This is Melissa. I think we need to motion for that location, and I would be happy to motion that.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. All right, does anyone second the motion to move this location to the suggested Ely and Low?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Bob. Brian Casper, vote aye. Bob Abriola,
Aye.
Stephen Russ,
Aye.
Naomi Clark,
I,
not Cheryl Tedesco, Ava Jacob,
But I also have a quick question after this, I guess.
okay, Melissa Matuska,
Aye.
Nori Gruden.
I, and I have a question too.
Okay, there we go. Well, the ayes carry. We will move this to the location suggested by the mayor's office or city or whoever it was that suggested it. And hopefully we can make that happen, while we have sort of Ricardo Gonzalez on the line. Annika, we don't have art from him, so I feel like we can't vote on that unless you
No,
finished it.
no.
Yeah.
I just,
So
yeah.
hopefully, we may need to call a special meeting just to vote on that. But that's TBD. But Ava and Nori, you had something to say or a question.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I can see it on my computer kind of sort of, but like what if we see this location, because I haven't seen it in person, decide it's not the right fit? I guess that's since we all just voted on it, but we haven't seen it, I guess that's my question. Yeah.
If we ended up wanting to pick a different location, we'd just come back to approve the change in the next meeting, which we wouldn't have a design for the second one until the next meeting anyways, so we can do the due diligence on location and approve them all in the same item at the next meeting, if it doesn't work out.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Brian, you're muted.
It's not that overpass on that street, is it? By the labor pickup?
No, there's another wall
I
out
share
there. I
my
was
screen?
just trying to look for it too. I don't really know which one they were referring to.
Yeah,
but-
sure, Steve, go ahead.
Do you see it?
Oh,
that
that's definitely the one.
block one. Okay, yeah,
Is
honestly,
that
I think
it?
that
Yeah.
would
I-
work for our one day action with Ricardo. It's a texture, but maybe he could vibe on that.
I assume that's it. That's the only
Yeah,
thing I
that's
could
gotta be it. That's
find.
gotta be it.
Yeah, that's
That's-
100% the wall. They're
That's a
talking
good
about.
spot. That's a really good spot. That's on MLK's for the labor pickup. That's a good spot. Good. I'm glad we voted on it, and it's a great spot.
I was just
Um,
wondering about the
Sabrina-
vegetation. There's a lot of, who deals with vegetation there? It's,
We can have DPW or our landscaping team go and cut it back before they start painting, because
Oops.
that's probably an older picture as well. Who knows what it looks like over
Yeah,
there
sure.
now.
okay.
Hey Sabrina,
very
is there a
nice.
way that we can have that plastered or like not maybe look a little cleaner before they do something to that?
We can see if there's the ability to clean it. Also, Annika, if there's a change in your price to include that cleaning, if we can do it internally, we can go and amend the contract to increase the amount.
It's
as
probably
well.
like power wash is the only thing you could do. You're not gonna
Yeah.
plaster.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
gonna be able to
think
smooth it, but
we can
Ricardo,
definitely power wash it. We have the Keep More Rock Beautiful team that has access to stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we can definitely do that. We can also plan like a little cleanup in that area and have them power wash it and have the artists there and do all that fun stuff if that's something we're interested in too.
I will also say that Ricardo's work is very like mono-weight script. Sorry, Nori. Nice. It's pretty bold and contrasty. So I think it will work on this space.
Well, they
and-
might be able to go with the design, Bri. So like maybe they work in like the blocks into their design somehow, you know?
I mean, I know what he's been proposing. It's not going to be that. He does
Oh.
the same thing over and over and over again.
Oh, all right.
It's his right here. Annika's going to show you. This is his work. It's almost always script. It's just sort of, so I think, with the right color choice and the right contrast, I think it will work really well. I mean, that top one that says Esperanza is sort of perfect.
Yeah, totally.
Where it's like on black, big and bold. Boom.
Yeah.
I think it will work well on that wall. So,
Yeah, fair enough.
Annika, you're muted.
Once it's painted, it'll look good.
His work really pops. It's
Yeah.
like nice and crispy and clean. So
Yeah.
I agree. It would be nice if the wall was a little bit smoother for him to work on. But I think that with some priming, we can see what we could do with it. But it also does look quite a bit longer. So I just want to make sure if whoever is going by to take a look at it, if you don't mind taking some rough measurements, that'd be super helpful for us.
If I'll talk to the Keep New York Beautiful team tomorrow to see if they'll be interested in cleaning it up a little bit before we do anything. And then
Great.
while I'm out there with him to show him what we're looking to do, I can take the measurement tool so you have a better idea.
Perfect. And sorry,
Cool.
one last request. If you can also get a photo from across the street of it as straight on as possible, I'll
Of
just ask
course.
Ricardo to mock up the artwork on the wall so you all can see
Yeah.
how it will fit there.
Perfect. I'll do that all
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
So I'll get you the measurements and the picture at least, and then I'll get an answer from the team.
Thank you so much, Sabrina.
Beautiful. Okay, cool. Thanks, Annika. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
free
Thank you
to-
all for your comments and suggestions. And we're so excited to come hang out with you all again.
Yeah.
Have a
Okay,
good
so moving on to our other agenda move here. The MJ and Josh with finally getting around to the Monroe Street underpass. Hopefully, possibly maybe. The hope is, Sabrina sent around the final for everyone. Sabrina, if you have that, could you just pull it up.
Yep. Just give me
If
one
you-
sec.
Yeah, it's fine. So I'm very happy to have them back. I'm very happy to have a final from them, and I'm very happy to have a tentative date, which is in May. We're hoping for pre-Memorial Day, right when the weather kind of breaks I think it'd be really nice to get them down there painting. And so yeah, so Sabrina's going to pull up the final. We'll let them chat a little bit about it. There's not a ton of changes, but I'll let them talk about it a little bit more, and also to fill also a little bit fill Naomi in. She wasn't here for this vote forever ago. So yeah, we'll do that. Just waiting for Sabrina.
Thank you guys. Yeah, we're really excited to come in May. We're still waiting on it to be pulled up. Okay, yes.
There we go.
Amazing.
All right. So a reminder for everyone: this is the Monroe Street underpass over by the train station. This team is painting both north and south sides of the underpass, as well as one small and one medium-sized retaining wall that lead into it. Oh, we lost it, Sabrina.
I'm just gonna open it in my email because it has all of them. So you guys can see it.
Mercury and retrograde, something.
This is Melissa. I have a question about the girl who's laying down.
Yeah.
It appears that it is her head being cut off by a seam of where a piece of concrete would be, because it appears like there's a triangle for her head, what her head is on, and then something that's smaller. So I'm just wondering if like it's a different piece of concrete that she's going to be on.
Well, we'll see when Sabrina pulls that up. You're saying you think there's a seam of like sort of two big concrete panels that's cutting her head off?
Yeah, I would just hate for her to look headless. If you're coming at a certain thing.
No, she's not. No, sorry. I don't think it's rounding the corner. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not rounding the corner. That side, she's just running. She would be on the north side, right?
There's there's like a tapered retaining wall.
Yeah.
There. So it's flat under the bridge down. And then it tapers out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have a picture of the actual wall, do we?
Let me pull up. I can pull up the Google Maps really quick so you guys can see.
We also have on the wall.
Okay, maybe we'll just pull this up. Well, while Sabrina gets that, I mean, everybody's had a chance to take a look at this. So, any other initial questions that anyone had come up, or maybe, I mean, I want you guys to be able to talk about it while we're looking at it. I don't want you to start talking.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I just got it.
There was artwork on both sides, Brian? I can't remember.
That's right, and the retaining wall. So it sort of wraps around. It goes from.
So we're looking at this just to remind what we voted on, or were there any changes?
No, they updated it a little bit based on some of the feedback we had last time. One of those being we wanted it to be male and female. I think previously it was two young girls. Yeah, see, Melissa, it doesn't turn the corner. It just tapers down like that.
Okay. But her neck is going to be on that slice where it's going to look like the train railing is coming down on her neck, right? Like it's falling off her neck.
No, this is flat. And I don't know that it's really going to look like that. I think if anything, that triangle trapezoid piece offers a unique spot because it's where you will come down from that ramp from the parking lot. It's going to be one of the first things you see, short of the part that's on the retaining wall by the parking lot.
What would be helpful for me is like where we were and where we are now. Is there like a comparison that we can look at? I mean, it looked great what they just showed, but was there like a before and after so we could just see what the heck they did?
Well, why don't we pull it up and I'll let Josh and MJ chat about some of those changes.
Those lights will go away, right?
Oh, God, I hope so, Steve.
So.
I mean, we got power there. I'm hoping that we can get, the electrical gods to bestow upon us a free light fixture again.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun with the kid like kind of flying. I don't know if I remember that. That's great.
Yeah, all right. So MJ and Josh, take it away. I'll let you guys chat about it.
You want to start?
Yeah, so we started off with this first figure on the bottom and then decided to match it with a male figure, and both of them are just kind of playing on one of the things we like to stress is really playing with the space and making it seem larger than life. So we wanted the figures to feel real big. And
The initial concept, we kind of approached it with two separate concepts and kind of from there adjusted our design. So MJ designed one side and I designed another, and you guys really lent towards the figure of the lady laying down and kind of her being a giant in these trees. And so what we did was and also another request was that if you could make it a male figure. So what we did was we went back and I designed a male figure also within kind of the scheme of a giant in this kind of like surrealist type of design.
Yeah.
So it's this like really large character, and he's flying over these mountains, and there's another kind of angle on that side. I don't know.
Yeah, you have that retaining wall picture,
you-
Sabrina, coming down from the
they're
parking
kind
lot.
of-
Is that like a search party, like looking for him, like in the distance there on the left and the male one? What's that all about?
So the idea there was just that like there was another giant and they have like a lantern, they're kind of like walking. So yeah, almost like a parent figure, but also like usually we use lanterns as like guiding lights and things like
Yeah,
that.
it almost looks like they're following him because he's got one hand back, like follow me or something. Yeah, it's cool.
Sabrina, can you pull up that the parking lot side, the wall?
The one on the Google
Circle
map,
on
you
the-
mean?
What was the meaning behind the skull?
No, on the drawing there.
Oh, that's cool.
so this
Cool.
was playing on
that-
this is gonna be the side with the girl laying down, and it's again trying
Yep.
to kind of show her as a giant and trying to tie it in as like a scene from a story.
Right.
Yeah, and then we have the retaining wall part.
Yep. And then another one. So, yeah, so this is what Josh is talking about. There's a figure there. It's a little tough to make out. At least on my
Nice.
laptop it is. Holding a lantern there.
And then this ties on to the male figure.
Yeah.
And this is right. This is on the south side with the male figure.
Mhm.
Ava, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. The hand is on the other side of that, it's her foot, right? Or her yeah, okay. Not her head. I was just
Not her
wondering.
head, no, yeah.
So as Josh mentioned, they added that other figure. Originally, this one here we're looking at now was sort of a house. And so
Yes.
that's been changed to a hand reaching out, reaching for the stars, if you will.
Mhm.
And those are the major changes. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, guys, you sort of fleshed out the figure with the lantern. Before, I think it was more a little scenic, right?
It was a what?
There we go, Sabrina. It was just a little more scenic. This is a little different, right? We're looking at.
So I think the palette, I just adjusted the palette and a bit, yeah, and changed it a bit. I believe it's been a while, to be honest.
Yeah.
The top of the bridge that spans there, is that getting painted? Is that like a solid color, or what's that up? Like the actual bridge itself that goes from one side to the other. Is that getting painted?
I don't know if we'll be able to touch that. I mean, I would love to be able to touch it because it'd really bring everything together if we can make it like a cohesive, like meshing in the middle of the color palettes, but I really don't know if DOT is gonna go for it.
Okay.
We can certainly make the request, but as you know, it's taken a while even to get them to respond to me about anything. So
Yeah, these are great. Nice job.
But
Thank you.
there's small birds flying around the male figure to kind of help with like identifying the scale change or like the scale of things.
Yeah.
And like little details like that. But yeah.
The foreshortening is great with the feet in the back and the hands and all. That's really, it's very, very got a lot of dimension to it. It's great.
Thank you.
And we're trying to use this, we're trying to stretch them out as far as we can as well on the wall so that they feel real large when you're standing in front of them.
It's beautiful. Okay. We don't need to vote on anything, right, Brian? It's just an update to show us.
Yeah, we already voted on everything. We lost Brian. I'm not really sure what happened there. But yes, we don't need to vote on it. We already voted on this piece, a year ago at this point. So it's great to have the final designs. We're pounding the pavement with DOT. Just a little update on the municipal end. We're trying to get a maintenance agreement pulled so that anything to do with maintenance of the wall includes installation of the mural, so that hopefully we can just move forward without them having to sign off other than the materials used, which we've already supplied them with.
Okay.
So I think we might be in a good place, but again, we're having a major sit down with the commissioner on multiple things, this project, the West Avenue mural wall project, a few other things that we have on our list. So hopefully we'll get to move all these things at once and be ready for, the first sign of good weather in 2024.
Amazing.
Okay. Great.
Is that kind of the last like paperwork signature for us to like be worried about?
We've already got approval on our side, so yeah, it's just their approval, and then we'll have a contract in place with you guys that we'll send over that will, ensure everything's all good on both ends so that you guys can get your payment and start to, book your flights and all that fun stuff.
Amazing.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. Oh, Brian's back.
Where are you guys going to stay and all? Do you need help and guidance on like where to go?
That would be amazing. Yeah, if you guys have like,
yeah, we can work something out because we get a municipal rate.
Oh, amazing.
So we'll be able to get you as close to the project as possible and get you our rates so that we can book them and get you guys all settled up.
Oh, that would be lovely. Thank you.
The Marriott over there, the Courtyard Marriott is probably the closest. You can walk, you can walk from there.
That's amazing.
Do we have a rate there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
that's perfect. That's where you gotta go. Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah. So
Literally,
we just
200 feet.
yeah, we just discussed we don't have to vote on this again since we already approved everything.
Yeah.
But that we're trying to push the maintenance agreements on the state so that we can just touch the walls when we want to touch the walls.
Yeah.
And then we just talked a little bit about the logistics on the payment side of the house and contractual side of the house. But once the state signs off, we're all good to go. We already took it through, everything else that we needed to take it through. So we're good on our end.
Cool. So do we need to vote on this final design? Is that the last little piece we need here?
Yeah, we can. We already approved the contract and the work. So if you want to approve the final design, we can do that.
Yeah. Well, does anyone have any other questions or concerns before we move to do that? Sick. I love when the plan comes together. Yeah, I'm very excited to have your work in our town. I think the scale of this is just going to be so interesting in this space, which is what I've been saying from the beginning. I mean, those kids' heads are going to be like 10 feet tall. It's going to be like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
All right. So do I have a motion to approve this design?
Melissa, I motion to approve.
Thank you, Melissa. Do we have a second?
I second.
Yeah, let her. Okay. Yep. You go ahead.
Brian Casper, I vote aye. Ava Jacobs.
Aye.
Bob Abriola.
Aye.
Naomi Clark.
Aye.
Stephen Rust.
Aye.
Melissa Matuska.
Aye.
And Nori Gruden.
Aye.
Awesome. We're all here. Great. The ayes carry. This final design is approved, and now we just need to get some dates locked in and make it happen.
Awesome. We're so excited.
We're so excited. Thank you, everyone.
Cool. So if there's anything else that the two of you will need
here on site, just keep us all in the loop, and we will work to make sure to get you all those things, whether it be extra hands or equipment or whatever. I also have a paint sprayer, big one. That's free for you.
Wow.
It's dangerous. Okay. Well, thanks guys. Thanks for jumping on.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. We're so excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Back to our regularly scheduled program here. We need to approve last meeting's minutes. Right, that's the first thing on our agenda. So the only thing that I noticed is that there was a vote, and I gotta look back here at it, but there was a vote that didn't specify Bob's vote, which I'm pretty sure was I, it was the vote for the Wilson Avenue retaining wall. It doesn't say which way Bob voted.
Yeah, I voted.
Okay, so that is the only addition or correction that I saw that needs to be made. Did anyone else notice anything? Cool. Then do we have a motion to approve these minutes with that correction?
I'll motion to
Thank you,
approve
Bob.
that correction.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Steve. Brian Casper, aye. Ava Jacobs,
Hi.
Bob Abriola.
Aye.
Anna Clark.
I
Stephen Rust.
Aye.
Melissa Matuska.
Aye.
And Nori Gruden.
Aye.
Great, the ayes carry. Minutes are approved with that correction. Next order of business. I think we're moving on to committee updates, right? So we start with Bob.
Yeah, I can.
Can I see the agenda? My computer is.
Yeah, sure. Bob can go first though. Bob, if you want to share your screen, I'll pull up the agenda. I'll share it after.
Oh.
It's not letting me. Why isn't it letting me? Oh, here we go. Did you give permission to share?
Yep.
What the heck? I went on my work computer just to make sure that I was able to share. All right, it's not.
If it doesn't let you, if you want to just shoot it over to me in an email, I can pull it up.
Yeah, hold on a second. Usually I'm in Zooms all the time. Usually I can get it where it's like share your screen. I'm not getting that. I don't know why. All right, I'll email it to you.
Yep.
Mercury retrograde.
There's really no change. So I emailed everyone regarding like ideas to put in for the budget, and we didn't get anything. So it's the same as last round.
I think those will start to roll in as like Ava's going to talk about events and stuff. So some of those will start to roll in as those things pop. So, I mean, I guess we can just if there's no change, there's no change. Right?
Yeah, I just sent it. I just sent it. I just grayed out June through September in our forecasts, and I have live October through May, and as you recall, I have like the plan, which is what we would put for our full fiscal year of what we want to put in and when. And then the forecast is like how we hit it each month. So we compare our forecasts against the plan. So I sent it to Sabrina. If somebody else wants to kind of go through what they need to update, we can take a look at the PowerPoint in a second.
I didn't get it yet.
You're on mute, Brian.
If there's no changes, we don't just discuss here, right?
There's no changes. I haven't made because we haven't received any recommendations, so it's the same budget.
All right, I'll share the agenda so you can see.
Thank you. All right, so then thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. Moving on to Ava Jacobs with event ideas. So if everyone remembers, when we updated the commission, we sort of started some new subcommittees, one of them being events, mainly because now we can start having them and we can start charging for them and making money and asking for donations and all those fun things to help further all of these things forward. So I asked Ava, when I asked her to sort of head that up, to put forth maybe 3 ideas for kind of the quiet period of the year that being basically February, March, and April, when people are going a little stir crazy. So I'll let Ava just take it from here and give us the lowdown.
Hey. Yeah, here I can share my screen. Okay. So I know like Brian and I were talking about doing some big events, which I definitely want to do, but we will need money to do those big events. And so I was like brainstorming a bunch of different ideas. They all require a lot of money. So I kind of put together a bunch of ideas, but a couple options that are cheaper on our end, where we can either welcome donations or charge like a small fee for entry. And then hopefully we can start building up that pool for like a big mural festival. Or I really want to do like a community painting event. So smaller kind of events, maybe we could do 2 a month or just one that will bring in some of that money, hopefully, so that we can plan for those larger events like a mural festival or community painting event. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with that. So I know last week we talked about like an artist speaks event, something along those lines, where we have maybe a couple speakers talk about their work and their process of their work with food and appetizers at maybe Norwalk Art Space was the idea that I had in my head. We could either do like donations welcome, or if there's like a small fee, something along those lines.
Would they charge us to use the space?
That is something that I haven't talked to Duvian about yet.
They will. They'll end up charging, but ask, see if they want.
Yeah, because now they're kind of a part of the commission in a way, so I'm hoping that maybe they won't charge us.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. And if they do, we could also move the event to someplace that might not charge us. Because I know of a couple.
Yeah, the mansion where the St. Philip's Artist Guild is there, we can host events there, no charge. So I can do it. It's an amazing venue. So look, if Art Space can do it for free, that's great too. But if they want to charge us, we can always go to St. Philip's and do it there. And that
There's also the availability to do stuff in the Sono collection. We can get that for free. We can also do any city room. We have the community room. We have the auditorium we can use. We have 3 Belden Avenue if we want something more intimate. The rooms at the library. There's some options there. I mean, they're not as exciting, but we do have options to do that. And I do want to bring up the farmers market that we host every other Sunday. There's one coming up this Sunday. There's one 2 Sundays from now as well. And then we'll have the Halloween event and the Christmas events where we can have a booth and
that's what I was,
yeah, where we can, and they're all no charge, obviously. So if you wanted to collect donations at any of that stuff and talk about the commission, or have, a cute, kids coloring thing or something where we can take $1 for a donation, that kind of thing. We can help facilitate that, like no problem, super easy. We have the tent already. We have, the tablecloth, we have all that fun stuff. So
yeah, that was my other question, because I know we're talking about 2024, but like there's the tree lighting event and things like that this year that I feel like we might be able to weasel our way into and try to put up some sort of booth and collect donations to like get this process rolling. Because obviously any like large festival that we want to throw is going to be a big uplift for us in terms of finances. Yeah. So I want to talk to you more then about specifically Halloween and the tree lighting, and the farmers market would be another great one.
We can definitely talk offline about it. We can have Anna in the conversation too, so she can be aware of everything that's going on, and then we can try to plan something so it's just not, people at a booth. We can, put some of our art things together. Like we're having for the Halloween event specifically, we're having a pumpkin painting. We're having a trick-or-treat bag coloring thing. Like it's a tote bag they color and they take it to go trick-or-treat. And then we have paper bags where kids can stick on like the little faces and stuff for like the smaller kids who don't really, have the ability to color yet. So we have some like arts related stuff that we can weave in so that, you're doing something and also collecting funds as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yes.
Yeah, when doing those things too, I mean, it's always good, just sort of this kind of for everybody, that we have a couple of these things sort of like in the schedule, but like basically saying like, you're not just throwing money at the city, like these are the things we're trying to do. This, you know, and these things cost money. So, you know, your donations help us make these things possible, blah, 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 blah.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
So then, and these are like, I just put January, February, March, because I was just listing out all the months of the year. But another idea is like, I know that there's several local artists, singers, songwriters in that realm here that I've talked to. There's an open mic night at Eco Evolution on, I don't know if it's Thursdays but those people seemed very interested in doing some sort of open mic situation or a little concert series situation. So that was another option that I was thinking about, maybe doing a concert paired with an open mic night, and like maybe some talking about from those performers.
I think we can, Ava, when we sit down, we can also talk about some stuff, because for next year, 2024, our slate's kind of empty besides Halloween happening again and Christmas happening again. So we were hoping to do like a Norwalk's Got Talent type of event. So I think that would mesh like exactly well with what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But also in addition to that, we're looking to close River Street probably at least once a month, hopefully every week. We're trying to get to have pop-up roller rink. Where we can have vendors participate on the sides of the sidewalks on River Street, and then we're gonna call it like rolling on River, so that people can, you know, have a DJ and they'll be able to, you know, roller around. So I think there's just tons of opportunity to like pair up for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
For sure.
and if we pair up, we also get. I feel like we talked about this maybe when we sat down in person, but we get some of the city funds, like
we can support like smaller expenses and whatever we need to, like for the cops to close the road, we can support all that stuff. So it makes it a little bit easier from a cost perspective on the commission's budget with using kind of our special events budget instead of it.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Melissa? I think she has her hand.
I know we had talked about in the past about doing a mailer or something to kind of promote the commission to get more involvement. But I feel like if we're doing things at tables, that we should put something together as far as, you know, this is what the commission's doing. Maybe these are our upcoming projects, or, you know, how to get involved is something that they could take away with them. Because I feel like we definitely, you know, should also have a more not just a presence but also a purpose.
Yeah, I think with the communications committee, the last group, right? Well, I don't know if whoever did, Mark maybe was running that, but we had talked about doing like a newsletter, an online newsletter of some sort, right? But yeah, I agree, Melissa. I think we should have some, and we were going to pay to do it, so this way none of us were like having to worry about like writing it and all. So we were gonna so maybe that comes out of our budget, like we budget for a newsletter communication.
I don't know if it's a newsletter. I'm just saying a marketing piece that people could take away with how to get involved and, you know, kind of just advertising the commission.
Yeah,
well, like sort of collateral.
We totally can do an overview of who we are, but you know, to make it current might be kind of cool to have like, here's what's on the horizon, like the next 6 months or whatever, like events that are, right? So maybe it just gets refreshed. So whatever you guys, you know, communication vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, all these things and including the events too. I mean, this is with the reorganization of all this and the fact that we can now take money that are, you know, tax deductible donations. It's like total game changer for us to be able to do these events and get people excited to participate in that way financially, as well as obviously being there and doing these events too, as well as these marketing ideas you're talking about, Melissa. I totally agree. But now we just have like more to say, not just like, hey, we exist. It's like, hey, we exist, and this is what we're trying to do. I totally agree, Melissa.
So we have like $8,000 in, you know, professional services. We can pay someone to create this thing.
Yeah, we can use our marketing consultant to do it and just give them feedback on what we want from content wise, and we can go from there on that front for sure. And then we do have a printing budget. We have some other stuff in there we can play around with to spend some of our operating dollars, since we have to spend them
Totally.
by
May.
June 30th.
I thought the new fiscal year starts June.
New fiscal year starts July 1st.
Oh,
June 30th,
July.
July 1st. Yep.
Oh, all right. I
Well,
didn't-
let's keep it going with Ava, some of Ava's ideas here.
Yeah. That's all like incorporated with it, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking some other ideas that I was thinking about were like a community art exhibit, kind of getting the community rallied. We could, you know, send out like a call to artists who wants to put their art up, and we could do Space 67 because it's free, or some other art studio vibe, and then we'll have like a little meet and greet artist mingling event where we can look at each other's art. That Artist Speaks, I would love to do a community painting event where we are like in Veterans Park or Oyster Shell Park, something like that, and we're painting something that the community needs. But again, that's going to cost us more money. I thought of some cheaper options, like a sidewalk chalk outdoor event where we like do sidewalk art with a band, maybe some vendors, food trucks, something in that realm. Outdoor concert. And then a photography pop-up, which we can also hold at the studio, where we could set up different photography kind of like scenes, kind of like the like ice cream museum or something like that, and then charge a small entry fee and have it go on for like 5 or 6 days. Yeah, so those are just a couple ideas that I've been floating in my head.
So I think, you know, obviously not all this, you know, should be landing on Ava either. I think there are certain people who maybe are, you know, have a skill set that fits in some of these things more than others. Obviously Factory Underground falls into Mark's jurisdiction, you know, the music stuff. You know, so my hope is that first off, if anyone is just interested in helping Ava, you know, maybe 2 or 3 people to help kind of spread this load around. But again, if there's something that's specifically geared towards your skill set, I think, you know, we should be stepping up and helping her with that to try to get some of these things moving. And then I think, you know, really next steps is maybe to pick, you know, a couple to get started with, and maybe you shift gears a little bit into the sort of Halloween and Christmas stuff. And then to propose, you know, some budgets on what you think this stuff would cost, and we can sort of start to see if we're pulling from the city, if we're pulling from our budget, if we're asking the city for money, depending on what the project is. I agree that we should be looking initially, especially looking for spaces that are free or very inexpensive. But ideally free, because, you know, Bob recommending St. Philip's is great. Space 67. We have so many places, both private and very public. You know, the Contemporary Printmaking Center, Silvermine, like all these places that we could be trying to do things, not only to get free space, but also just to point out that there are these institutions and businesses in our area. So if anyone has suggestions for Ava, please keep her in the loop. And like I said, if anyone wants to help Ava, and Ava, if there's anyone that you want to help you specifically, again, Factory Underground is a great example. That's Mark. Obviously, you need to have Mark's help on that.
I was going to pull him in for that. I also want to try to get as many different facets of the arts involved as I can. So like visual arts, you know, performance. So I also want to talk to Danny and see if we can do something.
Yes.
Cool, maybe. But he's been running around. I watch him all day run around the building like crazy, so I have not had the chance. But that's also another goal of mine, is try to pull in all different arts. Yeah.
Does anyone else have any sort of initial questions or thoughts for Ava that you want to share right here, right now? Otherwise, we can, you know, take this sort of offline. The only thing to remember too, that as you're sort of pulling in people to help you, you can't have more than you and 3 people, because otherwise there's a quorum. And then we need to call meetings in order for you to have meetings. Oh wait, does Melissa still have her hand up from before, or do you have another question? Sorry, Melissa, if I've been cutting you off this whole time.
Well, it's funny you say that. I do have another question, but it has nothing to do with that, and I did forget to put my hand down. But so it works. Sabrina, is there a possibility, or is this something the city may or may not be interested in? But do you know how some cities have gone and done an art project where they bought stars, or and we might have done this in the past, I don't know.
Yeah,
Or the cows.
So we did the stars in the past. I wasn't here for that, obviously, at that time. It was, years ago. We were thinking of doing oysters. To have
I love that idea.
Yeah, like to do the Oyster Town whole vibe and put them kind of around the city, but also put them along like the Norwalk River Valley Trail and things like that. We looked into the cost of it. It is very expensive. It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy the oysters, and to buy the cow or the star or whatever it ends up being. So I think that's why the model they did last time was that a business or a company sponsored one of them, so that they took all this money in to sponsor this specific program, so that they would sponsor one of the stars, and then the artists would paint them, and then they'd install them around their businesses. But it's definitely something we've talked about and looked into. It's just a very, very costly activity if we were to spearhead it just as the commissioner, as the city.
Something that Sabrina and I were chatting about a couple months back is, this idea did come up, and it is something that creates visibility for sure. And the first thing I said is to maybe try to find something that is slightly more useful than just fiberglass objects around the city. And the first thing I came up with is the fact that we have some bus stops that don't even have pavement under them. And so something like, maybe it's something as simple as benches.
Yeah. So I actually have
bus shelters.
On the agenda bus shelters on here. I ran into the new executive director of the transit district, and he was like, I would love to have art on every single bus stop. So I think Brian, you and me can have a meeting with him to sit down how we can do that. And like I said, we can have like a large event around that as well, where we break up into like 4 groups, and groups of people are helping paint like really cool bus stops. But there's also a program in it's one of the beach towns, I can't remember it, but they paint Adirondack chairs and put them around the city. And they auction them off at the end of the year to raise funds. And then the city votes, like the citizens of the city vote on a few of them to keep, so that they end up being permanent installations. And then there's another municipality, I think it's Austin, Texas, potentially, where they do that just specifically with art, where we all, get a bunch of artists together, they paint, whatever they want essentially. And then at the end of the year, we pick a piece that stays in the community and the other ones get donated off. And then there's another municipality that does the same thing with benches. So they'll paint the benches that they have, they auction it off, and then they kind of repurpose this whole cycle until we have, an arsenal of really cool community voted on art pieces.
Love that.
That's awesome.
And this starts to, I know I saw that Nori's hand was up, and I'm going to get to you, Nori, I promise. But this also starts to bring in, things that are just broader than us too, the transit department, and getting other agencies involved, which also potentially opens up other funding too, which is why I think ideas like this are really good in a lot of ways. So anyway, Nori, thank you for your patience. You had your hand up. I can't actually see you right this second. All right. Oh wait, maybe your hand's down.
Yep, I just put it down because you called on me. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. What you got for us?
Okay. I wanted to help maybe join Ava's group. But pre-COVID, we were doing a slow art day every April, which we always had a good turnout, and we always would go to a specific art venue to show their art. And I know pre-COVID, the Contemporary Print Museum was interested in hosting it.
I'm actually meeting with her next week. Because I want to get all these institutions involved in some way, and Slow Art Day is a great way for that. I'm glad you brought that up.
What is Slow Art Day? What is it?
Slow art is the concept. So these people put together that when you go to a museum, people rush through the museum and aren't really appreciating the art as much.
27 seconds.
So what this group of people decided to do is to focus on, they say, 3 to 5 pieces of the artwork, have somebody maybe discuss it a little bit, but then afterwards, after you've looked at those 3 to 5 pieces, sit down and discuss them. So it's more of more intimate experience in a museum or a place where they have art hanging, opposed to
Okay,
rushing in and like
I
checking
remember.
boxes.
I remember all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we'd even do, I mean, there's also the Maritime Gallery too.
Yeah, there's
for
so
some-
many places in
Silvermine,
town that,
Contemporary Printmaking Center, Norwalk, I mean, places that are already displaying art that we could
Well,
easily.
There's
Spag.
Mocha.
Yep, Spag, well, Mocha's in Westport, but yeah.
Yeah, it's right on the line.
yeah, and the other thing I can talk to Ava about offline is I had mentioned before the commission was revamped, it's a huge like wish list is to have Norwalk have its own jazz festival.
That would be cool.
Because I have friends who are going to Hartford, they're going to other cities in Connecticut and outside of Connecticut for jazz. So I figured I'd talk to Abe about this offline because it's like a huge wish thingy.
Well, you know, this starts to bring in something that is really the next thing in the agenda, and Ava already mentioned, which is the idea of a mural festival. And I mentioned it. Wait, before we jump on this, does anyone else have anything else for Ava? And Nora, I thank you for offering to help her already. That's great.
Yeah, I'll
need help.
share my email. Yes, exactly. I'll share my email.
Cool. Okay. All right. So Ava already alluded to the idea of a mural festival, and Nori, this actually could start to bring in something. I mean, music, I think, is a huge part of this too. I was talking to Sabrina briefly about it before, you know, a week or so ago. Basically, you know, I don't have a ton of info, with the exception of I think I have a site for it, and a whole lot of people who seem really interested in it. The site being, it's basically the small industrial park that's right behind where Lauren painted that whatever switch station pump house thing. And there's Wilson Avenue Artist Lofts there. That whole area is owned by David Genovese of Darien. And he is a supporter of the arts and has already expressed to me that he would be interested in hosting something like a mural festival on that property. What's great about it, just to sort of sell it a little bit, is there's probably 20 to 25 solid walls in that little area, and it's entirely contained. It has a parking lot, so there's plenty of space for like food trucks, vendors, a stage for something like music. People can walk around and watch people painting, etc., without having to worry about closing streets, blah, 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 blah. So I already kind of put a bug in his ear because I know budget talks start in November, and this is something that I want to bring to the city. Maybe by next meeting, I'll have something a little bit more concrete with maybe some preliminary budget. My hope is that we can sort of come up with a number to present to the city, and then also look to, you know, get, say, Rings End to donate, you know, to agree to donate the paint, and United Rentals of Stamford to agree to donate the lifts, et cetera, and the list goes on. So it's a nugget of an idea, something I've been thinking about for a long time. And basically the idea is that we would do this every year. And those walls would change every year, the same way that Wynwood walls in Miami change every year, in fact, more than every year. And hopefully make this something that's like a real anchor for our town, but also for us as like our big event, for us to raise money, you know, charging vendors, charging all that to just be there and participate in it. So like I said, I don't have much else besides just that's my pipe dream. I'm definitely going to need, it's going to be like an all hands on deck situation, but for initial planning stuff, I want to, you know, tap a few of you to help with it. There's definitely crossover with Ava too. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Brian, after we spoke about it, I spoke to Jess about it, and she says, you know, it's really cool and awesome. So I think we have like a positive response on the city's end for something like this at this moment, minus even the private property piece. Especially if David's willing to you know, donate his spaces essentially to be able to do that and allow people access. It also got our wheels spinning a little bit to have a paint the town event, where we have artists install murals essentially on the storefront windows of like Washington Street or Wall Street or both. Whether it's seasonal or not. I think it could be really awesome. If we kind of expanded it to that too, like moving forward. I've seen some artists who specify in that, like they specifically paint storefronts on their windows, and it's really amazing, and it really livens the street, even if like there's a vacant space, you know, it just really changes the whole landscape. So it could be a really awesome kind of event for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, the intention of the mural festival too is that obviously murals take longer than a single day. So hopefully, you know, we would have, in the perfect world, 25 artists coming from all over the place to come paint for, say, the week leading up to it, and everything sort of culminates in this one day where everyone's kind of finishing the murals on a Saturday. And if it expands into something like you're describing, I mean, all the better. The more visibility, the better. I love that idea.
Awesome. I think
Cool.
the last, there's only one more thing on the agenda since I talked about the bus stop thing a little bit. I got a request from the mayor's office to see if the artists who proposed to us the West Avenue wall would be interested in trying to incorporate the vines into their design if we were to leave it on the wall. I don't know if that's something that you guys are interested in or the artist would be interested in, but I wanted to bring it up because at this moment, it's going to cost a lot of money to remove it, and we don't really have a place for it at the moment. It's very heavy metal, and it's really in that wall. There was an idea to use the abutments on the opposite side to move them to the opposite side, but essentially what we're doing is taking down the art to pay the artist again to reinstall in the way that he did on the opposite side. So it'd be more cost effective to be able to incorporate it or leave it as it is and then do something under it. So I just wanted to bring it up. I mean, we could talk about it. We don't have to talk about it on here, but I just didn't want to leave it flailing in the wind. Well,
I think the first step with something like that would just be to reach out to Ernesto and Sunny and see if they're even interested in talking about it. And then from there,
if they're not, you know, we could stick to the regular plan of we'll take it down and have to store it until we find a spot that makes sense. But the redevelopment agency does have funding to move it. I just don't think they know the extent of it, considering the way it's installed. It's not installed on rails or anything. It's physically screwed into the wall at different points in time of like the script lettering that they used. And it's a lot more complicated than just unscrewing something and screwing it back up.
Sure. Anyone else have
the whole installation there, isn't it, if refresh my memory, isn't that just the words welcome or hello in numerous different languages?
Yeah, I think it's hello in multiple different languages.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just randomly racking my brain right now thinking where the F even go. I mean, it's so long, and I'm sure it's pieces and maybe there's a creative way to stack it or something, but like we barely even have city walls as it is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And, you know, with the piece going in and taking the whole wall, I would hate for something completely amazing to be on one side and then taking the vines down on putting them on the other side stacked. Like we just like had to put it somewhere, you know, like I wanted to see more, like it should be more intentional than just moving it to move it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I could see if it was half the size at Heritage Wall, but it's huge. It goes halfway down the street.
Yeah,
you know, the wall we're about to do for the You're Not Alone project, and it is yellow. Could we install it on top of that over up near Eli?
I think it's way too big for that space. Plus, you have to remember too, when you start to move physical pieces of art into the public space, there's always the issue of like people climbing it, people putting trash behind it. I don't know, there might be some weird liability there too.
Yeah, it's just, something we have to think about a little bit more creatively to get the other project done. Whether, if they're comfortable with incorporating it somehow, great. If not, we have to think about where we want it to go.
Okay.
I just think if it was since it's something that is saying hello in numerous different languages, I think that might be something to say, hello, you're not alone. I don't know. Maybe we could just pitch them and see what they think, if possible.
Well, why don't we see if, because we haven't even really landed on like colors and even the text piece of the West Avenue mural from Ernesto and Sunny. Remember, we were talking about even changing the text. Like we haven't even started talking about that piece. So maybe this first step is like, do you guys? This is what this piece is. Are you interested in incorporating it? And just
because that's the cheaper option.
But I also, I certainly don't want to like force them to do it. Just thinking about this from like the perspective of an artist, like, listen, if it were me, I say, screw it. If it's either making money or not, I'm going to do it. But I don't want them to feel like they have to compromise their work in order to fit into our missteps.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where the mayor's office is coming from as well. Like if they don't want to incorporate it, that's completely fine. But as the commission, we need to think about where to put it then, if that's the end result. But I think asking them to see if, there's some creative way and they want to do that, great. If they don't, then we'll have to figure out where we're going to move it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right, then, this week I'll shoot them an email and just say, think about this and let us know your thoughts, and then we'll take it from there.
I have a place for it.
In your house?
No, wouldn't it be cool if they would let us put it on all the steel work of the trestles of the overpasses?
But that crossed my mind too. I was like,
to the
maybe.
Yeah.
It's bad enough getting DOT to approve paint. I can't imagine them approving welding. But hey, we can ask. They'll never answer us, but we can ask.
Yeah.
Or beg for forgiveness. I wish there was a space. I wish there was a wall space on the river trail because it has the length, but it's all fence.
Yeah, we thought about that. We thought about that too, and because it's metal, this fence won't even hold it if we tried hard. It has to be like affixed to something solid and sturdy in order to be able to do it.
Like pile drive some I-beams and now we're talking about expensive. Shut up, Brian. Okay. Yeah, all right. We'll start. We'll see. We'll see what they have to say. Cool. Anything else? That's pretty much it. We went through a lot today.
Next month, can we talk about, and I know it's private property, but what's becoming the eyesore on Donovan's? Because I drove by there last Friday because I was dropping my dogs off to get groomed, and the mural is peeling.
Okay.
There's a big hunk of it that's
Mark and I previously have met with the Donovan's owner, Richie Ball, who wants it revamped. We had the original artist come to the commission a few times with some different ideas on how to navigate the condo association. He's been trying to get on their agenda for a year and change at this point. They don't want anything on their wall that if they have to reside anything or repoint the brick, that they would not be able to remove it, which is why.
All right, we're talking about panel.
Yeah, which is why we ended up talking about the panel idea. And then we had the idea of potentially using the panels, but affixing it in front of it on a separate structure so that it's not even touching the building at all, because we own that little park that Donovan's uses for seating. So you're trying to think more creatively about it that way. But at the end of the day, we want to keep it on the wall. So we're hoping that the condo association gets some funding from somewhere, whether it be through like a storefront improvement program like we have available to them, so that they actually fix the wall. Because even if we paint on the wall again, it's going to peel again, because whoever cleaned the building power washed the brick and didn't let it dry properly. So the brick is ruined, and then they painted over it as well, not the mural, like the building itself is painted. So it's pushing the mural paint off and making it peel as well. So anything we put on it, if we don't completely strip it of all paint and repoint the brick to the point where it's not a porous surface anymore and all the water's out of it, it'll just continue to peel. So we've had multiple conversations about it, and we never came to a solution for it. We met with a company that has a type of fabric paint of some sort. It's like painted on fabric, and the fabric's installed.
Yeah, they do that really a lot.
Yeah, so they propose that that's what we install, because then it won't peel, because the brick is not, it's touching the fabric, not the brick, essentially. So we had thought about that as well, but the cost is high. That's kind of where we landed. That was, the mess of all last year. We had multiple meetings on it. It's a very complicated mural.
And we don't even, it's on private property. So, I mean, you would think that I know it was there before. It's just that now it's becoming like, we're putting up all this art, and it's just like, what about that one?
Yeah.
It's understandable because it's private property.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, it becomes blight, and then you can start to get complaints about it, and then they have to do something about it. But that's not really, because it's private property. There's not much we can really do about it, short of advise, I think. But
that's where our head went as well. It's like the most bullyish way is to classify it as blight and force them into doing something about it. But we were nervous that it would result in them just removing the mural entirely and not putting it back at all. And the goal is to keep it. And if there's nothing there ever again, like it loses everything from it. So we talked with them a few times. I've requested to be on the condo association meeting. Mark requested to be on the condo association meeting. We met with some of the condo association members to ensure that we're on it, and we never get on it. So we're kind of in a weird place with that.
Sounds like Nora needs to spearhead it.
No, I would think that, I mean, just look, I know it was pouring out on Friday, but I was just like, the whole right corner is like coming off. And I'm like, I know it because we had this discussion years ago. It's private property, it's the condo association. But I'm like, you would think that they would want something to look beautiful.
You would think that. And I went there and I did something bad and pulled a chip of the mural off, and it pulled the brick right off, like the facing of the brick. So it's bonded to the brick. So if we take the mural itself off, it's ripping the brick with it. And I think that's their concern, is that if we were to redo it or fix it in any way, it's going to destroy the brick, which was no fault of the artist or the mural. It's the fault of the power washer and the painter that originally painted the entire building, not the mural. So it's unfortunate.
I mean, it's the time too. I mean, none of these things really last forever, and it's true painting on things like brick and masonry. I mean, it's just bound to, in the Northeast, it's bound to flex and thaw and freeze and all these.
And I used to remember, because the 20 West kids used to do tours of that area, of the murals and the traffic graphics, and I think the mural has been redone 2 or 3 times already. They had the same artist come and do it, because you'll see like he's added different things to the ship.
Yeah, so he redid it last in 2015, I believe. And then he went on a sailing trip across the world, and it was not maintained while he was gone. And now we're left with what we have. But he's back. The artist is back and is interested in redoing the piece, and has solicited funding from multiple people, including the city, to be able to do that, which we're totally in support of. But he's not able to touch it unless the condo association agrees to it. And at this point, that's where the hiccup is.
Yeah. Yeah, so they'd rather have appealing mural than to say, okay, here's what, we'll let you do it if you promise to do X, Y, and Z. That would
They
be the
probably only meet once a year. I know my condo association on the same street on Washington Street, we meet once a year. So that also might be one of the bigger holdups is like, I know they don't do anything. Like my windows have been peeling for 2 years. They don't do anything. So I'm assuming they're just like a little lazy too.
Well, anyway, just any others before we get out of here? Cool. Do I have a motion?
Adjourn.
Thank you, Bob. Do I have a
second.
Whew, wow. Get out of here. Brian Casper, aye. Bob Abriola.
Aye.
Ava Jacobs.
Aye.
Naomi Clark.
Aye.
Stephen Russ.
Aye.
Melissa Matuska.
Aye.
Ari Gruden.
Aye. And Ava,
Thanks.
I'll share my email with you.
It's good to see everyone. I can't wait to keep this moving. See you next month, if not before.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.